What's going on? So grow, glow, and feel the flow. So today I just felt like I needed to make a video on money because lately I've been working and I just been noticing like how much I've been saving, and I really wanted to make sure like people kind of understood like how I saved and ways that I learned how to manage money that could help you guys out maybe in the future. If you're not working, and even if you are working, it'll just help you out. So I'm not gonna talk and talk and talk. I just want to get to the point so you guys understand the 3 ways that I try to save money now, and the 3 lessons I learned with saving money. So number 1 starts with making a budget. So a lot of people, they like, oh, why do you make a budget? It's so bougie and it's no need. I have money. But even when I was making a lot, like in the summer, and even now where I don't have as many expenses as some other people might, like where they have kids and just like other expenses, bills, like they might live on their own. In a nutshell, it could be harder because rent is a lot, and some people, they have houses, so mortgage is another thing they have to deal with. But even though like I didn't have a lot of bills, I still would splurge. So that was the first lesson that I learned, is that you need to write down what I would say, like your bills and things that that come up, basically your weekly expenses. That's what you really want to write down, like things that come up no matter what. So you want to make sure that you take care of those things, like the mandatory things. So for example, like I budgeted out travel and lunch money for work, and also emergency money. So those are like my top 3 usually, like no matter where I work or where I live. It's usually transportation, food, and emergency money on the side. And also, if you want to have extra spending money, that's okay too. But I will budget with those 3 to 4 things, and then the rest I would probably use and spend. So that was like the first mistake, that I would budget out things I needed, and the rest I would just splurge on. So the thing is, you want to at least like have a kind of like a blueprint of what you're spending, and don't just spend all out and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't even get to work, or I can't even eat. So you want to make sure you write it down, no matter how good you feel you are with money. Because I was even in that boat where I was like, oh, I'm fine, I don't need somebody to tell me how to spend, like I'm good. No matter who you are, you still want to make sure that you know exactly what you're spending, and you know exactly where the money's going to. So if you want to cut back and save more, you have the blueprint, so you can go back and see where you're spending. So then that leads me into number 2, which is asking yourself if you really need something. So this came into the point where I would say probably 30% of the money that I would make, I would probably use it for like weekly necessities, and the other 70% would just be like splurging and spending all over the place. So the reason why it's bad is because eventually, like in case like you're in the situation I was in, where you're gonna be unemployed for a certain amount of time, and for me it was a good maybe 5 months that I was unemployed until I could start working again. It just makes you hands down broke. You don't have any money to spend, or just backup money in case of that. And there was like useless stuff that I was spending it on. Like one thing that was a waste was probably massages. Even though I don't get them a lot, I did get them a couple of times, and they lasted an hour, and yeah, it was pleasuring, and it was, I don't even know if that's a word, but yeah, it was nice. But the point is that like in a nutshell, it wasn't all that worth it, and I had wished that I saved some of it, and even like buying extra clothes and just a lot of unnecessary stuff. Like that's the thing I always tell people, like ask yourself if you really, really, really need what you're gonna buy. So in terms of clothes, because I feel like clothes is something that people spend a lot on that they don't really take into account, and a lot of like the times people will just shop, and clothes are what I just see people buying a lot, and they spend a lot of money on it. They don't think about it until later that they spent like probably $200 in a day on clothes. And I always say this, and I've even told like people that I work with, ask yourself, if you were the last person on earth, would you buy that piece of clothing, or would you buy that thing? So if it was like a whole like zombie apocalypse type of like thing, and you were the last person on earth, would you buy that shirt? Like would you be shutting out in a zombie apocalypse with that t-shirt on? For me, sometimes I had clothes that I thought were really, really dope, and I was like, if I was the last man on earth, I would be rocking this. I like this shirt. So you want to make sure you ask yourself that question, because a lot of the times we buy stuff for the reaction of other people, and we don't really think if we like it or not. So that's why I feel like you need to always ask yourself, if you really need it. And the second part, if you're the last person on earth, would you really truly wear that? Would you like what you're putting on? So going after that, so the last point will probably be making sure that you understand that you have a little bit of emergency money and you have money on deck. So that's something that I feel like is really important to have. Having extra money on deck just in case, and just making sure that like you have an emergency fund just in case things come up. But in a nutshell, you really want to have backup money in case you're in a situation like I was in, where you were unemployed for a certain amount of time, and you want to at least be okay in that time frame, in case emergencies happen or just stuff comes up. So you want to always make sure you have some backup cash. And then number 4, I would say, so this will be like a little bonus, will probably be making sure that you don't spend money on small frivolous things. So because like at that time I was trying to lose some weight that I gained over the summer, when I went out I would make sure not to buy snacks and stuff, and then that benefited me because I was able to lose a lot of fat and not be spending money on snacks, but also I was saving money. So it was a win-win that I lost a lot of fat and I saved money. So you always want to make sure that when you're buying something that you think about it, and you're always making sure that it's stuff that you need. And I feel like it just comes with experience. Like over time you realize that after splurging, that a lot of stuff, like you only wanted it in the moment, but later when you have it, you don't really care about it that much. So that's all I got for you today. So those are 3 topics, 3 ways to save money, and just the 3 little financial tips and tricks that I learned last year. I'm gonna be making more videos on just random stuff, but please comment and talk about this in the comments and just give me more information. I'll see you in the next video.